What's up, DBS community? Tony Stark here with a deck profile for Beerus Energy Ramp. I've always wanted to play this deck, and it never really had the support after set 1 came out. Then set 2 came out, and then it was like no support. So I wanted to try my best to run it, and every time a set came out, I tried to update it with new pieces, never could get it going. So with this last set, it got a little bit of support with the anniversary box, so I figured I'd put it together, and it actually works pretty well. I'm not sure if it'll compete well against the meta, but it's a fun deck to play, so I'm definitely going to try it out at some locals and see how it does, but it's just for fun. So I'll try to take the deck lightly, and this is really just my take on it. This it's been a while since we've done this. We used to be big into Pokemon. Now a little bit more on the DBS side. So hopefully you like the spice, or I'll definitely have the list posted in the description if you want to give it a look. And then what I want to start doing, instead of doing my own deck profiles, I want to see what the community is playing. So if anybody wants their list featured on one of the deck profiles, then shoot me a DM or a PM. Shoot me a PM and with your list, and I'll give you a shout out on the video, let you know where the list came from, and post a list available in the description once while you're watching the video. So anybody that wants their list featured in the video, shoot me a list and give me a brief description on how the deck works, and I'll build it and I'll put it in a video. But further ado, let's get things started. So first, we've got the Beerus lead, and honestly, it's not that fearful of a leader. The leader, I mean, don't get me wrong, is the main part of the deck because of the awakened side, but the regular side is just you get to pop a 2-drop or less. When there's a card attacks, and you have to have 3 or more energy to do it. The awaken is just the draw 2, but I've noticed playing this deck that you definitely need the draw, because with everything in the deck, you're losing a lot of cards in your hand between your super combos and objections. So you definitely need to draw, and then you get to pop a slightly bigger card on the awakened side. But the main premise of the deck is to ramp to 16 to switch this card to rest mode and win the game. It's basically the original victory strike, if you ask me, but I think that it's such a cool mechanic, and I'm pretty sure anybody that allows this to happen to them pretty much deserves it. So, they just gotta get with it. I wish there was a foil version of it, or some type of alternate art to basically give the deck a little bit more value. But the original art isn't all that bad, but I digress. So we got the Beerus lead there, and we're going to start with what I think is the most important part of the deck, or at least one of them, and that's 4 Whis Destruction Aids. Everybody likes 1-drops that draw, so that's one of the cool things about the card. You get to draw when you play it. You tap 1 blue energy, and you get to play it and draw 1 card. But the activate main allows you to basically place it in rest mode in your energy for 2. So you want to start off with these to start the game, in my opinion. But if you don't, then it slows the deck down a bit. You definitely want to start with these and start objectioning and using these as quick as possible, because your opponent's going to know what you're trying to do, and they're definitely going to stop it or pop it. So you only want to play this when you can drop it into your energy immediately. Otherwise, they're either going to get rid of it, or they're going to try to attack it if they have a card that can swing it with cards in active mode. But 4 of those, and I think we'll get the job done. Next up, 4 Universe 10 Supreme Kai Gawasus. This lets you basically search out everything in the deck. The entire deck is God, so it's really easy to get anything you need, whether it's the Whis, or you can even get your super combos if you're using the Hellas, or anything you're looking for to get the deck to pop off. This will search it out, and most people won't, once these come out, won't even really mess with it. But like I said, if you're playing the deck right and you have the right pieces based on this build, then they might try to get rid of it based on what's coming later. So I mean, the more they can disrupt your mojo or the way the game is or how you play, they'll probably try to get rid of these too, even though they're not much of a threat in the early game. Of course, you have to have some form of defense, especially because this deck is technically a late game deck. If you can get it to go faster, that's fine too. If you got any suggestions to make the deck move quicker, definitely leave them in the comments. But of course, for Dimension Magic, to defend yourself and untap energy if you need it. So pretty much a staple in any blue deck, self-explanatory. If you're watching the video, you probably already know what they do, so don't need to go into much detail for that. And of course, probably one of the biggest blue staples in any blue deck is the Senzu Beans. Tap 1, untap 2 blue energy, and give your card for that turn 5k. These have always been good, and as long as they don't do any rotations, these will always be one of the best blue cards you can get. A staple in any blue deck. I don't think I see too many blue decks that don't run Senzu Bean. Who doesn't like untapping? And for safe measure, East Kai Keeping Watch. Like I said, I love 1-drops that draw one card, and of course, this card, when it came out in set 5, it was a big card because it basically punished your opponent for playing cards on your turn. So counterplays and anything that allowed them to come into play, like Roshi's, Forge the Will Roshi's, or any other counterplay that allowed you to play the card, they get punished for doing so by dropping the card from the hand. So these are always nice as well. And of course, it's a god card, so definitely will come into play later in the game if they don't get it off the field later. Huge staple in this deck because you need speed, and this is one of the only things that really speeds it up, and that's objection. You basically take a card from your hand and place it into your energy in active mode by tapping 2. I like to play these as early as possible. Sometimes I actually even use them to objection. I don't think that's really what you want to do with them, but if you don't have a choice and you don't want to lose anything important in your hand, then you got to do what you got to do. So objections is the way to go to speed the deck up. It's pretty much the only card in this deck that speeds it up. Now, some people would use a different super combo. Some people like to use the Gohans or any other like 4 life or less card to do it. I like the Hellas because it's a god card, of course. So it definitely helps you search it out with the Gawasu. If your life's at 4 or less, you have to drop a card and draw 2. Like I said, this deck needs draw power because you're dropping cards with the objection. So this helps a bit, especially in the late game. And you can even play it if you feel like it, to help beef up the energy count later in the game. So I like the Hellas, even though it's green, but Tried and True Unyielding Spirit Trunks. I hate that this got dropped down to 1. I don't think it was a big deal, but that's not for me to decide. But of course, a staple in any blue deck, even though you only get 1 to untap energy to defend yourself or do more with your plays. Definitely think you need 1 in every blue deck. I don't think there's anything more important you can add in there that would hurt you if you don't have that card in there. Whis, Mentor of Beerus. I'm happy that this card has a barrier. I'm upset that it doesn't have the permanent that doesn't allow you to move it from the field, but barrier is a good substitute, and it shrinks your Beerus' energy cost by 1. You only have 1 out, otherwise people would take advantage of it a bunch by having a bunch of these out and playing Beerus for free or 1 for 1. So just shrinking Beerus' energy cost down by 1 helps tremendously when you're trying to get the Beerus out. So just 1 of these on the field works just fine, and with the barrier it can't get sniped unless they Xeno wipe you or something like that. So 2 of these is only necessary because you only have 1 out anyway. So once you see it, play it, forget about it. Charge the other one, discard it, whatever you decide to do. Most people won't worry about this because you're not trying to play Beerus, just to You're only playing Beerus to put pressure on your opponent or stop what they're doing so you can get your plays off. So 2 of these is more than enough, if you ask me. I did Indiscriminate Obliteration Sidras. You don't necessarily need these, and it's a blocker, so not only does it allow you to defend, it also allows you to get something big off the field late game if you need to. Otherwise, charge them or discard them for Hellas's 2-draw. Hellas's 2-draw. Up to you, but I think they're cool to add in that deck, but that's just me. I got Undying Spirit Sun Gohan. These just came out of set 7. I think it's an awesome counterplay card. It's a bit expensive, but it's nice because it's a counterplay card, so you can play it on your opponent's turn if you need to. The permanent only allows you to shrink its energy by 1 if you have a multicolor card in your energy. But that's not what you're using this for. Because you want to get as much stuff off their field as possible, because you're basically delaying your opponent until you get to that 16 energy for the leader, then you get to untap a blue energy and switch it back to active. So you get to untap an energy along with playing this with counterplay. So I think these will be a cool blue staple for a long time, especially if you are using multicolor cards, but in this deck we're not using any. It's just straight mono blue outside of the Hellas's being green. So good little tech in, not really spicy, but just something cool to have. Energy Boosted Beerus, or Energy Boost Beerus. 4-drop double striker, and you basically get to choose an opponent's battle card and smoke it as long as you have 5 or more energy, which you most likely will have 5 or more energy if you're playing this card, because you got to play it. You have to hard cast it. There's no quicker way to get it out. So you're most likely at 5 energy by the time you're playing this card, especially if something threatening is out there or they're going into their end game. Playing this will get that off the field as long as you can defend yourself and get to your turn before they end game. So that, I think, works out better for you. Depending on how your playstyle is. If you're aggressive, even with blue decks, then we'll see how that goes. But 3 energy boosted boosts, or energy boosted Beeruses. I either end up charging them or dropping them for Hellas, but it's a situational card, so it just really depends on what you got going on. I have 2 Beerus Universe 7 Divine Vanquishers. I wanted to run this at 3, but like I said, the goal was not to really play a ton of cards that you're going to swing with. You just want to get as many gods on the field as you can, so you can get to your end game once it's ready. But it's still a really good card, because every time it swings at a leader, you get to basically wipe a bunch of cards out of your opponent's battle area or energy, or hand, or a combination of them, whatever your opponent chooses. But choosing a cost of 6 between hand energy and battle area, most opponents would not want that to happen to them at all, especially if they're using a deck that doesn't have hand advantage. So that can be really disruptive, especially in this deck, because, I mean, you get to play it for 4 because of the Whis. And then I run 3 of the General Demolition Beeruses. Another big hitter for the deck, and it's a triple striker instead of a double striker. And of course, when it swings at a leader, your opponent can choose 2 cards from the hand and put them in a drop, which they're going to drop those 2 cards. There's no way that they're going to place all of their energy and battle cards in play and place them in the drop area. That's just basically, the game's over. You don't even need to get to the end game if they choose that, or if they don't have 2 cards to play, then the game's over. So this is another way to end the game if you can't get to 16 quick enough, especially if you're swinging with that first double striker or anything other than that's threatening, and they have to combo out if they don't have anything to defense or if they're tapped out. So I think this is a really good secondary option for endgame. This right here, to me, is the endgame card for this deck. And that is God of the Gods, Great Priest. Once this card comes out, you're basically taking your entire field and dropping it into your energy and rest mode. And if you can hard cast this, you're most likely really close to the 16 energy you need to go ahead and use the activate main on the awakened side of this leader. So when he comes out, it's pretty much already over, or at least that's where you want to be. So you want to get as many gods on the field as you can before you play him. And that's where those 1-drops come into play. You can just keep playing those 1-drops on the field and just be like, scoop them all up, and then tap 7, drop him, and go ahead and win the game with this card. I think it's pretty much essential to the deck, and that's the only support this deck got in set 2. But a lot of people probably didn't see it that way, or maybe they did, I'm not sure. And last but not least, set Week's Judge of the Gods. 2 to 3 of these are really important to the deck, especially because it's got quad strike. So if you can't get to the 16 energy you need, and you need to go for game earlier, if you can't get your plays off of the deck's just not rolling, then a quad strike 12 drop will probably get the job done. And you can't negate the attack, so they have to combo out of 40k plus whatever is in your hand or in your field. So if you can't get to that to the end game or get to 16, unload your battle area and just drop as much as you can, because I guarantee they were at 4 life by self-awakening themselves. Most opponents already self-awaken anyway. So if you get this off and then your leader's a Beerus, then you get to take another turn. You can basically, if you were quick enough with this deck, you can swing for game with this card. Because you get 2 turns as long as your leader is Beerus. So that auto is nasty. I mean, it's just expensive. So if you can ramp up quick enough to get this thing out, and they can survive 2 quad strikes, then kudos to them. They earned whatever is coming up next. Whether it's their end game or whatever, they earned it. You know, so you honestly fought hard and you put this guy out. But that is my Beerus deck, or my take on it. I said that is the whole thing there laid out. I'll have the list listed under the video. But if you like it, make sure you like us on Facebook at Stark Industries. We do all types of stuff for the Dragon Ball Super, whether it's local streaming or any bigger streams if we were invited there. We always do let's plays or quick plays or streams just here at the office. So if you like the video, just let us know. And like I said, if you want your list featured in the video, send me the list, give me the breakdown on how the deck works. I'll build it and I'll put it in the video and give you a shout out and let everybody know where the list came from. I promise I won't steal your spice. I'm more of a seller than a player. I play for fun. I do compete every now and then, but you won't see me at any big competitions because I'd rather be more of an analyst of the game than an actual competitor. But I do enjoy playing the game ever since I started playing since set 4. I remember my last year at Origins getting torched by Marquise McKinney, but he was so cool and he definitely gave us a good amount of pointers to get better at the game. So because of that, we're definitely better players, me and the squad. But if you enjoyed the video, like I said, give it a like, drop a comment. This will be on Facebook and YouTube, so watch it either place. Like I said, send me anything that you feel like can make the deck better. I'm always open to criticism. I said, because I'm all about just getting better at the game. Other than that, I appreciate you watching the video, and I'll catch you on the next one.